Hey guys, I'm back. Yeah, I know, it's been a while, hasn't it? But there's just been a lot of stuff going on lately. The camping trip's literally tomorrow, and I'm gonna be unable to upload anything for the next 4 days, so I'm gonna try to get these reviews out as fast as possible. So, what's happening? What's going on? Welcome back to Anime Station, what's the fan animation, including TVs and movies as well. I'm your host, Jackson Small. We are finally taking a look at another big movie franchise today. Despicable Me, starting with the original that came out in 2010. I have a pretty long written review for this one. I went really in-depth here, so I hope you guys enjoy hearing my thoughts, and feel free to leave your thoughts and opinions down below, but sit back, relax, and enjoy. Sorry to make this super rushed, but I'm trying to get these done before I have to go over to my other house today and do other stuff. So, here's my written review. I hope you guys enjoy. My history with this particular franchise has always been a bit complicated. I saw this original one when it first came out as a kid, and I really liked it. I got the Blu-ray shortly after, and I've rewatched it several times during my middle school days. I would hold the Blu-ray up to show you, but I don't have it in my hand right now. Had a couple of the Happy Meal toys, and just overall have really fond memories of it. But I never got to see the second one due to IRL stuff, until almost 10 years later. And I had zero interest in the spin-offs, so I kind of just lost interest in the franchise altogether and moved on to other things. Like, I literally didn't revisit this franchise for the big majority of it until like around 2022, 2023. So since I haven't watched these in a while, not to mention how much I've changed since then, I wanted to go into these re-watches with a fresh new perspective and see how they all hold up, starting here with the original film that came out over a decade ago. When a criminal mastermind named Gru, voiced by Office alumni Steve Carell, plots to carry out the biggest heist in history by stealing the moon, he ends up with more than he bargained for, with a hip new villain named Vector, voiced by Jason Segel, interfering at every turn, Mr. Perkins, voiced by Will Arnett, getting tired of funding him because of all his past failures, and adopting three little girls, the adorable Agnes, voiced by Elsie Fisher in her first ever movie role, the hilariously demented Edith, voiced by at-the-new-time newcomer Dana Geyer, and the protective eldest sister Margot, voiced by iCarly, Nickelodeon icon Miranda Cosgrove, to help him pull off the heist, but unexpectedly end up turning his entire life upside down. With the day of the heist fast approaching, Gru must decide between his dream and his newfound family. Stories about villain redemption arcs are definitely nothing new, especially for animated family films. But this one told it in a way that was actually pretty unique for the time, so I can understand why it was such a huge hit when it first came out. And like I said, I loved it as a kid, so even if I ended up not enjoying it as much as an adult, I'd still have a soft spot in my heart for it. But thankfully that didn't happen, because this still, in my personal opinion, is a great film, with a lot of creativity and ambition. However, it's not quite as amazing as I remember. I know that sounds self-contradictory in a way, but allow me to explain. First, the positives. The voice acting is excellent and full of personality from a very stacked cast, especially Steve Carell as Gru, which is a great example of how to make your voice for a character so unique, as he does a great job being pretty much unrecognizable and giving Gru such a distinct voice that stands out from most animated protagonists. And Jason Segel as Vector, who's just a hilariously dated, over-the-top, cheesy delight every single second he's on screen. And you can just hear from their performances how much fun they had in the vocal booth. The story's really good, with a pretty cool premise that's well executed. The designs of the characters and overall art style are really cool and very unique from other films. The writing is solid with some pretty great moments. The music is really good and feels cinematic without being overwhelming or generic. And it is one of the movies that did start the trend of adding in pop songs. But here it's not as egregious because A, some of the pop songs here are actually original, and B, because it's actually a good selection that does somewhat fit the overall tone they're going for. So, yeah, without feeling overwhelming or dramatic. The runtime of about 94 minutes doesn't overstay its welcome. Some of the humor, especially the dark jokes, are ridiculously funny and quotable. Vector is a great villain who just is so dated and over-the-top silly that it becomes charming. The supporting cast is great, especially Russell Brand as Dr. Nefario, and Mary Poppins herself, Julie Andrews, as Gru's mom. The pacing is quick, but doesn't feel too rushed. The world building is fascinating and very distinct from other animated movies of the time. The plot, while more than a little bit ridiculous, is maybe a little bit predictable in a few spots, is a lot of fun to watch unfold, rewatchability is quite high, the emotional, heartfelt moments are still surprisingly effective, and the final act, while flawed, is legitimately thrilling. That being said, though, there's more than a few calculations in this invention that do need to be addressed. The humor overall is very hit or miss, with a lot of low-hanging fruit jokes that do cause some eye-rolling. There are fart jokes. Yeah, this started that trend too. The third act, as great as it is, feels a bit anticlimactic since it's resolved so quickly. The minions themselves, while not as bad as they are in some of the other films, and I'll give them this, their design's very unique. They're still pretty annoying, with pretty much all of the worst jokes in the entire movie. The second and third act drama scenes that happen right before the big heist feel extremely forced. The opening, while surprising, feels almost completely disconnected from the rest of the movie. The second act is plagued with a few moments of time-wasting filler that adds nothing essential to the story. And the animation is very dated. Like, this movie's animation by today's standards is bad. Which I can understand, which I understand why. Because Illumination back then was a brand new company, and it didn't have the budget of something like Disney or Pixar. While it is bright and vibrant, which keeps it from feeling visually unappealing, it is pretty choppy. Like, the animations are, like, you know those direct-to-DVD movies that you sometimes see? Their kind of animation when they tried to do 3D? It's about that level. It's not very good, is what I'm saying. The animation in this movie is bad, but I'm willing to forgive it because most of the substance is still intact. Overall, though, while it definitely has its issues and it hasn't aged too well visually, Despicable Me is still, in my opinion, a great animated film that's still in a place in both my heart and my movie collection. With great characters, good music, superb voice acting, excellent storytelling, unique art style, and a delightfully cheesy villain, Despicable Me is definitely a landmark in animated movies, both for better and for worse. That's more than worth seeing if, for whatever reason, you haven't already. I mean, it's been over 10 years. Come on, guys. Just give the movie a chance. Final verdict for the first Despicable Me is going to be a high 8 out of 10. It's not a flawless heist, but still a pretty fun adventure. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got, and I'm still surprised how well this movie holds up, outside of animation. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos like this almost every single day, and I'll see you next time when we talk about the masterpiece that is Despicable Me 2. Yeah, spoiler alert, Despicable Me 2 is amazing. See you next time.
We cannot take it anymore. The time has come. Prepare, fight, we're ready for.